You're listening to Entrepreneur Encounter, the podcast where soft skills meet real talk for creative business owners who are building with purpose. I'm Dana, a Pinterest marketing strategist and agency owner helping wedding pros and creative entrepreneurs get seen without burning out.
And I'm Sara, a business and team strategist who helps small teams and podcasters communicate clearly, lead with empathy, and grow sustainably. Together, we're unpacking the messy, meaningful side of entrepreneurship, from boundaries to burnout, leadership to listening, so you can build a business that actually fits your life. Well, now that we are done with summer and getting back into everything, Dana, tell me about, when the last time you have been on Pinterest.
So the truth, I think for the summer, I only open Pinterest to look for fun activities or recipes with the kids, not necessarily what to cook for dinner, but what recipes are basically kids safe to teach them how to cook, because we do a lot of summer camp at home. And so I look for things that tie into a theme. Like this week is Summer Olympics. And so they have to come up with like building their own obstacle course. They're racing and things in the backyard, but we want to make it as fun as possible. So I look for those ideas. So really, I still open Pinterest weekly, if not daily, to see how I can tie this theme into fun, interactive, like not just educational experiences, but just something to break up the day, because I'm a creature of habit and I'll be like, yeah, we're doing this at this time, and it's the same thing every day. And I know my kids are not going to be okay with that.
That is awesome. I'm gonna do that next year, because this summer has been not full of activities, but chill summer over here. But no, I think that's awesome.
It's like a weird in between of loving a slower pace because they kind of get to do whatever they want, but also realizing like it's also still work. So I do open Pinterest a couple of times to stay tuned in what's trending. I'm really diving into how Gen Z is planning their weddings and how they're working with vendors, because no matter what generation, they still start planning months in ahead, if not earlier. So right now, even though it's summer, you already see an uptick in fall and winter trends right now. So it's finding that balance to do both, but having like those activities. It's a slower summer, but it's not me trying to say, don't get on screen.
Yeah, no, for sure. And
even though I'm online.
So yeah, I bring up this question because a lot of us entrepreneurs are trying to figure out a different way to market our business. And being on Pinterest and marketing my business, I've seen results that I didn't think were possible, because before, like, I honestly thought Pinterest was just recipes and activities, right? Do you believe that taking a break from marketing during the summer, because Pinterest, you can just set your stuff and forget it, right? You forget it. You don't necessarily have to engage like you do on other platforms. So does it matter if you take a break during the summertime from Pinterest?
I'm going to say it depends on your niche. Like Pinterest, like its algorithm does support a consistent content flow, but consistent doesn't necessarily mean 3 to 5 pins per day. Like social media almost requires 3 to 5 or more posts per day in some way, shape, or form. I saw a TikTok video literally yesterday. I almost sent it to you, where this lady was like, I posted 20 videos yesterday and here's what happened. And it was a great turnout. She's like, you know what I'm going to do today? Post 20 more videos. I was like, who has time? I don't. I barely want to post every day, let alone 3 or 20 times. So having that peace of mind that, you can batch schedule even just 1 pin per day can have a huge impact on your online visibility and dusting off your virtual content from last year. So if you want to take the summer off, you can. Or when by the time this airs, people will be thinking about winter break. If you want to take the whole month of December off so that you can rest and recharge and prep your vision work for 2026, you can do so if you have your content already on an autopilot visibility platform.
Oh, there you go. That seems easy, right?
It definitely takes the stress out of it
Yeah,
because
no, for sure.
I have forgotten to post a reel 3 times this week. But I'm not like, oh man, I'm not stressing about it. Cause one, I'm still engaging with my community on social media. So I'm not like
Mm.
completely in the wind, but I also have content that's already been scheduled out. So I'll post it today, but it's not, oh my gosh, now I have to do 2 reels today to make up for not posting yesterday. That mindset gets a
Yeah.
completely redo. I don't have to think of it like that.
That sounds so exhausting. And I know that at the beginning of the summer, I was stressing over, I need to post this reel, I need to post this content. And then a few days ago, I looked, I'm like, wait a minute, I have stuff scheduled all of July out for my Pinterest. So I'm not necessarily worried of having to now I got to show up on Instagram, show up on LinkedIn, like all these other platforms. It takes the stress out over that. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. If you haven't guessed it, that's what we're talking about today, Pinterest marketing and how that works with soft skills as well. So we're talking about the post-summer fog of marketing because now we don't feel like we have to constantly be on.
Specifically, what everyone needs to be excited about is how to get your Pinterest strategy back on track when you've been on vacation mode, or just really your organic content marketing strategy. Pinterest is great, and obviously I'll talk about that all day long, but just getting your content creation strategy back on track now that we're transitioning out of vacation mode, we're back to school, we're back to sports, we're back to whatever else is going on in your life.
I want that. I want that all the time. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Again, like with having to feel like you're constantly on because with Pinterest, you can definitely, have a long form piece of content like this podcast is going to go on Pinterest and it'll live there for years to come. So walk me through what your Pinterest looked like during the summer break versus what it's going to look like now when we get back from not being in the summer.
So it's going to be as on autopilot as much as humanly possible.
There you go.
In full transparency, like I really try to batch schedule a variety of content and go out as far as I can because especially this summer, one of my goals is to really get involved in speaking opportunities and networking groups because my kids are all in school. So I have that sweet 5 hour window to really dive into the deep work. So I'll schedule pins out using Tailwind. I'll do a variety. On Tailwind, I'm going to schedule them in the native pin scheduler. I'm going to be very intentional and give myself permission to step back from traditional marketing so that I can shift into trends that are coming up in fall, winter, and have all of my content workflows, everything mapped out. So when someone clicks and they go to a blog post, there's links that'll take them to an email freebie or like working out that web.
Another thing too, I always wonder with about like the mindset shift of, feeling like you're having to be constantly on social media versus Pinterest. Can you walk me through that? Like, do you believe that there is a mindset shift when it comes to that? Especially when feeling like, oh, I have to create this every single day to not having to be in that cycle of feeling like you have to constantly be on.
So there's a few mindset shifts I feel like that people should consider or like be open to. And one is just to give yourself grace.
Yeah.
I know I talk about this a lot, but Pinterest isn't a social platform. It's a search engine. So your mindset shift needs to also shift into the user of the platform's mindset. They are future buyers, they're dream clients. They're not doom scrollers looking to be entertained. They are actively and intentionally looking for a solution, or inspiration, something to solve their whatever pain point that it is. And pain point could be just a simple, I want to paint this office, not a actual like struggle or hurdle, but they have a project coming up, whether it's personal or professional, and they are looking for inspiration to make it happen, basically. So think of your pin content as planting seeds, and with consistently showing up, even if that is 1 or 2 pins per day, the growth becomes unstoppable and stable. And the longer you pin, the more momentum your content has to build over time as well. So taking the time to set up your profile and just start pinning that 1 to 2 times per day. And when I say pin content, you're not creating new content. Look at old content you already have and then break that down. So using an example as a realtor, you can feature your listings, like the type of listings that you do and specialize in. It could be modern farmhouse with open floor plan. That's going to hook someone's attention. It could be move-in ready homes under 400K. Like, how do you find that? When we're busy professionals, we don't have time to be popping here, there, and everywhere. So if you can bring that solution to them, great. You can also use like local area guides. That type of content, it does really well. So top 5 neighborhoods to live in XYZ city. That's another pin content. All of these things come from the same house though, or the same neighborhood. So you're not creating new content. You're looking at one big piece. So I'm selling a lot of homes in this area. Here's how I break that down. The types of homes that are there, the best neighborhoods to live in this area, what it's like living in this area. Then you can do the buyer and seller tips for the same area. First time home buyer checklist, how to stage your home, sell it fast, what to know before you buy in this area. That's 10 things that you can break down from one general area as a realtor that you are really great at selling and or helping people buy it.
I love that breakdown because before promoting my business on Pinterest, I was a consumer. And obviously, as a consumer, I looked for like Halloween stuff. I looked for like haircuts, like, different styles and all that stuff. But now, as I'm growing my business, I'm leaning into more professional development. And I go to Pinterest a lot more than I go to Google. 100%. Yes, I still use Google, but as a consumer, I go to Pinterest more often. And I love the fact that when I open Pinterest, it knows what I like. Not
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like here's an article on LinkedIn. Here's an article on X, Y, and Z. So I prefer as a consumer to go to Pinterest.
And I think that's because of the visual aspect. That's why video content and anything with video carousels are really big, because we can now see, oh, that's what my life can look like. It's not just a faceless long form blog post, but you even see images in your blog post now, so that you have the like words describing it, but now they can see where they're headed. Like even with this office, you go on Pinterest and you look at small office, and then I'm going to look at these visuals and try to find an office that looks similar to mine and like, oh, that works. That's the important part. Are the visuals are very important, almost as important, if not the same level as like your keywords to help it pop up when people search. But the visual also has to align with it so that it hooks them into clicking to wherever it is that you want them to go.
Oh, I'm gonna go binge some blog articles on Pinterest later for blood. And it's like my morning newspaper. Now, seriously, I'll read like 3, 4 blogs in the morning, right? I'm sitting there just like, I'll read because I think my brain's not ready to watch a reel. Like I'm just like, I am not ready for that. Um,
Fair.
so for those that are listening and feeling overwhelmed about either getting back into Pinterest or getting on it, what is a good game plan for that? Tell me something simple.
Everything I do is simple. So step 1 would be to just audit your account, especially if it's been a few months. Log into your Pinterest and just observe what you see and take an in-depth look at what's working, which pins are still driving traffic. take a look at your analytics, but don't like spiral down into it. Just kind of get a baseline of what do you need to fix now to get back on track? What do I not need to touch to stay on track? That kind of clears up a lot of mental space. And then to simplify your comeback, I say start with 3 priority boards. So for me, it's always a service-based board, a seasonal board, and a popular evergreen one. And then batch out pins using templates from Canva, which is my go-to. I can average about 10 pins per piece of content. And content means a blog post, top performing carousel or reel, a YouTube video, a TikTok video, your most popular LTK portfolio. It could be podcasts, anything. Whatever content you have created, utilize it. And then I set a time once or twice a week to back schedule it out. And then I'm done. I don't think about it again. And then last step is to align with your upcoming goals. So right now, I'm thinking about my fall and winter goals. So ask yourself, what do I want Pinterest to do for me this season that will help next season? Is it driving inquiries or leads? Is it growing your email list? Is it just brand visibility because you've added a new service or you redid your website? Who knows? Then build around whatever that goal is. Fall is a huge time for wedding bookings and gift buying. So this is the time to refresh your seasonal boards and lean into that holiday planning content.
That's simple right there. I love that. I love that. Like, batching sometimes feels so daunting because now like you're sitting there like, oh, it's going to take me forever. Honestly, it really does not take that long. Like, I'm not a expert at Pinterest, but it takes me about an hour and a half to batch a whole month.
Mm-hmm.
That's one pin a day for me, which is amazing because I already have the content. Now you just got to break it down. It's that simple. And I didn't realize that it was going to be that simple when I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but
I think we tend to overthink things, and that might
yeah,
be one of the
exactly.
biggest mistakes that I see people make. Not even just trying to get back on Pinterest, but just thinking about Pinterest in general, is trying to go from that 0 to 100 overnight and thinking it's going to go like, oh, I have to create like new content, meet just like you think, oh, I have to create content for these social media platforms. And that's not the case. New content is repurposing old content. That's what it means on Pinterest. So whether you've been off for a while or you're just interested in trying to get started, that's why I recommend. I think I'm the only person that actually says start with 1 to 2 pins because you're just building a foundation. I mean, if you have the capacity or can delegate it out to where you can have more pins per day, great. You're going to see amazing results from that. But I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed by it or feel like they like this is something that you can do or your virtual assistant can do as a part of your CEO day when you're strategizing everything. That's why I say 1 to 2. You don't need 50 new pins every week. You need just a consistent flow batched around your content calendar and then helping you bring more eyes to the things you've already created, because most people really like writing blogs or they really like doing their podcast episode. So we want to make sure that more people see that content. So start small, stay steady, and don't ignore what was already working before the break. The biggest thing that I guess I say would, like, when people talk about how overwhelming it is, like, it's not an either or. You don't need Instagram or Pinterest. You don't need YouTube or Pinterest. You need social media and a discoverability platform for the longevity. So if you need to take a break for whatever reason, you still have content that's pulling people in and that gives you that peace of mind to take the break.
And there you go. And I believe that's right. That's what I want to talk about right there is the, giving yourself grace and the self-compassion. And because as entrepreneurs, we're always learning. We're always, personal and professional development. And this is where like the soft skills come into play. Like we got to stop criticizing ourselves. We are our own worst critic. We're going to overthink so much because I know I do the same thing. And I truly believe that when you find something that works and it's so simple, because honestly, Pinterest is that simple. Yes, that is me. I was overcomplicating it. I was like, this is going to be too much. I don't know what I'm doing. But let's say that don't have a new blog. I do go back to like last month's content, podcast, YouTube, blog, and I just create the pins for that. And there you go. It's there. And again, just chill, just breathe and give yourself grace, because that's a soft skill in itself right there.
Absolutely. I mean, that is a lot when you can frame it with self-compassion as opposed to criticism. I think even as women, we criticize ourselves way too much. And I used to think that hustle was the only way to fix something. And I always felt like I was behind, but I am the team of one. So there's always something that can be done. And so when I can help not only myself, but my clients feel like they're building something sustainable, that's the best strategy. So being kind to yourself doesn't mean you're not serious. It just means you're building something that's going to last. And that does take time. It's not about going viral. It's about sustainability. And sustainability is a slow, steady, turtle-like process sometimes.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It's really cool to the work that you put in that takes the longest, the organic, Pinterest, it takes a while, whatever you're working on. And 2 months, 3 months down the road, you start to see something happen. And that is awesome. Yes, it's going to take a while for anything to grow. It's not overnight. And I think that's another myth or mistake that entrepreneurs think about is, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be successful tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. You have to be willing to put in the work for that.
Yeah, it takes time. I love seeing the content that shows that real journey of this did not happen overnight. Like Oprah was like not a 1 year and then she was a billionaire. Like that was a decade or longer worth of self-discovery, compassion, problem solving, like really digging deep and building a business that fit her life or the life that she wanted, Like
Yeah.
too many people don't talk about that, or we forget too easily that going viral doesn't mean you're going to be a millionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
You can have 1 million people look at your content, but if those 1 million people don't buy your stuff, you're just entertaining a crowd and not connecting with your audience.
Yeah, I would rather not go viral. Like, I have never, and it's okay. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? When I see when I see 5 listens on your episode, I'm like, yes, we got 5 listens. That is amazing. Like, to me, those 5 people, you're making an impact in some way. You know what I mean?
I think it's more personal.
So Dana, since we talked about all the great things about Pinterest, is there anything that you want to leave to our audience? Like any last minute tips or suggestions or anything?
I think if you're feeling stuck with your visibility strategy, especially after this summer break, I would highly recommend doing an audit of your current content and seeing what's performing and connecting with your audience on other platforms, whether that's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. Pick that content and then break it down into bite-sized pieces, just like you would to create a carousel, but do it for Pinterest. That would be my top advice and recommendation. I have a free content calendar that you can access and help you map out the next 90 days worth of content by looking at what you already have. And that way you can start where you are and not already be overwhelmed of, I have to make 3 blog posts.
Well, there you have it. Pinterest in a little nutshell. Making a big impact. Because honestly, it's going to I believe, make a great impact.
So thanks for hanging out with us today. If this episode gave you permission to ease back into your strategy without the pressure of perfection, then mission accomplished. Remember, your Pinterest presence doesn't have to be all or nothing. A little consistency does go a long way. And whether you're batching pins during nap time or just carving out a single hour to reset your boards, give yourself credit for showing up and building momentum in places that matter the most. Until next time, we'll see you on the next episode of Entrepreneur Encounter. Thanks for spending time with us today. If something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective, share it with a friend or send us a DM. We love hearing how these conversations land with you.
And if you're curious about how soft skills can support your next season of growth, we each have more resources to share.
You can find Dana on Instagram at danas.desk.nc for Pinterest strategy and intentional marketing,
and Sara at URembert for team development, business leadership, and podcast support.
Until next time, keep leading with purpose
and growing with intention.